I welcome you to the song. Let's create a voice together and sing. The hymn is 1018, Come and Go With Me to That Land Where I'm Bound. Oh, if you dare, you don't even need the book. Come and go with me to that land. Thank you. That means you sing it with me. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be singing in that land. You have everything you need to succeed. Would you rise and let's sing together? If you know it already, help me to teach it. If you're learning, learn with gusto, and away we go. Come and go with me. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. Where I'm bound, there'll be freedom in that land. I know there'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice. There'll be justice in that land. Be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. Oh, there'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing. Whoa, yeah, where I'm bound. They'll be singing. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me one more time. Come and go. Come and go with me. Oh, come and go with. Come and go with me. Oh, to that land where I'm bound. That land, oh, come and go with me to. Here we go. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound.
Good morning. It's so good to be together today. My name is Ashley Harness. I'm one of the ministers here at First Universalist, and it is a joy to be together this morning with Franco and Ida back here, and Dr. Glen Thomas, and our very honored guest wisdom sharer and the executive director of BLUU, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, Lena Gardner. And we are clapping extra hard for Lena this morning because the crud has landed in her home along with her body and her toddler's body, and she managed to get out the door. Woohoo! And she has wisdom to share too, now that she has made it here. And we are glad that each and every one of you has made it here as well. For over 150 years, First Universalist has been a community proclaiming the power of love and hope, creating community where we invite each other into the rhythm and practice of dreaming together new futures like we will do this morning. I want to invite you into a couple of opportunities to step into these rhythms and practices right now. First, I'm going to mute my computer because it's making funny noises. I have my computer up here because we are welcoming folks who are online with us this morning, and I am communicating with them from the chancel so that we remember they are here with us and we are there with them also. The visual arts team hopes you will enjoy this spectacular spectacle they have created. There is a lantern illuminated snow fort. Oh, it's getting so full. That's the goal, that it will be filled with stuffies from our children and youth and all of us for hibernation season this December. Also, if you are looking for some free cheer this afternoon at 4 p.m., I recommend the mercifully briefened presentation of Handel's Messiah at St. John's Lutheran on Nicollet, for which our own beloved Dr. Glen Thomas will be the bass soloist. Woohoo! This is his first gig in the Twin Cities, and we need to make sure he is properly loved upon when he sings. So join us there if you can. And if you are in need of a space that is free from cheer, or at least with room for lament and sorrow and grief, we offer you the BLUU holiday service this Wednesday, a tradition where we make room for all of ourselves, all of our experience at this time of year. Join us for that at 6:30 p.m. The Christmas pageant is a beautiful telling of an ancient story of hope and hospitality, a reminder that every child is born a redeemer. And most importantly for this moment, a reminder that it is happening on December 18th only, not on the 24th. We hope you will join us to make that as festive as humanly possible. And finally, it's back, the winter solstice ritual. Wednesday, December 21st, 7:30 p.m. We look forward to it. Now, let us arrive more fully and let the logistics rest. Let us settle ourselves with 3 big breaths to help our spirits arrive here with our bodies. Take your own rhythm to do so. And now let us welcome our ancestors into this space. In the words of Adrienne Marie Brown, my heartbeat is 1,000 ancestors clapping the rhythm for me. Feel your own heart now. Feel the clapping. Silently welcome them. We hold our ancestors' experiences now as we remember that we are on land that is not our own, that people and land and beings are not possessions to own, that the earth and its people, past and present and future, carry stories and hold histories of hope, resilience, trauma, and pain. And we commit ourselves to learning and holding it all, trusting in the power of love as we do what is ours to repair the web of all that we live within. Let us light the flame now to represent these commitments. Ida, if you will join me up here on the stool. Over here. You can do it. And if you are joining us from home, I invite you to join by lighting your own candle. And please join me in saying these words as Ida lights the flame. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant. This is peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another.
Friends, whenever anyone offers you the opportunity to sing, it is a joyous occasion. And whenever you get to offer someone the opportunity to sing, it is also a joyous occasion. Nothing says that quite like December in America. Back in the days when we used to have malls, those folks who are younger, malls are these... they're websites with bricks that you buy. Yes, so it delights me to offer you the opportunity to sing. The hymn is Lean on Me. I invite you to sing this song like you have just learned it and you have just taken it in as your favorite song in the world. Here's why. This is how we deepen our spiritual connections to songs, by singing them with new and fresh vision each time. So the more you can inhabit, you can notice these words again and again, the less we can treat them like, yeah, I've sung that before. The more we can treat them like, this is an opportunity to sing, the more the opportunity will unfold into a blessing. Amen? All right, the opportunity has come. Let us sing. Rise, will you? The hymn is Lean on Me. Let's go. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, you need to borrow. Oh, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody. Get ready, here we go. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm going to need somebody. We got one more verse. just call. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to. Last time, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I help you carry on. It won't be long. Let's take it home till I'm gonna need somebody to lean. Yeah, soloists. Okay. Yeah, everybody.
All right, now is the time when we all continue to deepen the work of learning and growing our capacity for love and hope and liberation. We do so in classrooms, we do so in this sanctuary. I invite now our 6th through 12th graders to depart. Thank you especially for your dancing in that song. That was stellar, you all. Yes, take a bow. And now our K through 5th graders. You can do it right now.
We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you would understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
All right. We could just keep singing. That'd be a cool way to pray too. And dancing. I like that form. What? The rest of us stay here. Right? Yes. I'm like, what did I miss, Glen Thomas? Let us settle a bit deeper now. Moses approached the thick darkness where God was, but the people remained a long way off. So says the book of Exodus at the end of God's delivery of the 10 Commandments. The thick darkness is where God was at that pivotal moment in that sacred story. Did you know that? That God was in the thick darkness. Have you heard that? Do you remember that from the Bible? Yeah. Our culture doesn't exactly highlight the holiness of thickness and darkness. Really, we are too often taught to be afraid of thickness, of darkness. We fail to see and touch and hear the holiness, the tenderness, the creative possibility in the darkness, especially. So we are going to practice connecting together with that darkness right now through a practice called centering prayer. It's an ancient practice of invitation and presence. So I'm going to invite you to find a way to get a little more comfortable, but not too comfortable. Still alert. And feel where your breath drops into your belly. And use this phrase as an invitation to presence and holiness. We inhale with the word trust, and we exhale with the word darkness. Trust, darkness. Let us practice presence. Let us grow our capacity to trust the darkness as we breathe and center ourselves now. Holy darkness, hold our trust with care. Hold our grief. Hold our possibility. Hold all that is growing in your depths. Teach us to trust you, to know you, to be led by you in this season of holy waiting. Of brilliant darkness. Let us be with you always, knowing that you hold us through the grip of addiction, the weight of oppression, the sharing of our grief, the depths of our joy, with love that makes our suffering more bearable. May it be so. Amen.
Spirit of life, Spirit of life, come unto me, come unto me, sing in my heart, all the stirrings of compassion, all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise Come to me, come to me. In this moment of worship crafted together, I know that there is always cause for joy and gratitude, always cause to look at the mystery and wonder, what the heck? Always challenging moments among us. And one of the more powerful things that we do together is we bear witness. And we accompany each other through those moments. We name them in our hearts, in our spirits, in our voices. We name those names. We name the moments in our lives. And so for a few moments, with our collected prayer, I invite you, with your voice or with your heart, to conjure that which you would have the community hold with you in prayer. All you need to do is conjure it up. And if you'd like to say it out loud, if that makes the moment more deeply connected for you, now is the time. This moment of worship is what the people meant when they sang, "Someone's praying, my Lord, come by here. Someone's laughing, Lord, come by here. Someone's weeping, Lord, come by here. Oh, Lord, come by here." Because the tapestry of love is ours to weave, to hold, and to warm one another. So may it be. Amen. As we move more deeply into the worship hour, it's my pleasure to welcome Lena Gardner, Executive Director of Black Lives for Unitarian Universalism. We're doing things just a little bit different this week. We're going to talk a little bit about Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, especially in its relationship and partnership with us as a congregation. First Universalist Church is in a 5-year partnership with Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism that we call holiday giving. For us, it's a spiritual practice that helps to teach us how to resist consumerism and capitalism in the most consumerist and capitalist time of the year, in the most consumerist and capitalist moment and location in the world. It's deep, resonant spiritual practice for us to give and to be in relationship with our giving and receiving. We'll start with a video to introduce Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism in case BLUU is new to you. I got a kick out of that. Okay. Okay, here we go.
Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, or BLUU for short, is an inclusive spiritual community for Black people. We are unapologetically Black, unapologetically spiritual, and unapologetically liberated. Unitarian Universalism invites us to honor many spiritual lineages, traditions, and practices while grounding in our shared commitment to seek justice and curiosity in this life. While BLUU is a Unitarian Universalist community, we invite Black folks who aren't Unitarian Universalists to be part of our BLUU spaces as well. BLUU started in 2015 when a small group of Black Unitarian Universalists met at the Movement for Black Lives convening in Cleveland, Ohio. Since then, we've created a thriving community where people can worship together, learn more about justice and organizing, and enjoy getting to know other Black folks who care about the spiritual call to collective liberation. We center queer and trans people in our staff leadership and in our programming. We honor our elders and appreciate the wisdom of our youth. We have meaningful gatherings virtually and in person. During our worship spaces, we often say, "Welcome home." That's because we mean it. We're BLUU. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Lena, for being here. I think for a lot of us gathered here today, the foundational question to start with is just an understanding of the need for a space like BLUU, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. Like, why do we need a Black Unitarian Universalist space?
Yeah. Thank you for that question, and thank you for inviting me here today. So I was one of the original people at the lunch that was referenced in the video, and when we started BLUU, we did so because all of us were experiencing harm in our home churches. And all of us at that table were involved in activism in one way or another. So myself with Black Lives Matter Minneapolis at the time, and other folks with other different orgs. And we would come to church having done really intense, big direct actions or whatever we were doing. And I would say we were coming in a vulnerable space, looking for worship, looking for connection, and instead, particularly in those times, what we found was harm, racialized harm. And so we thought to ourselves, how do we give ourselves what we need? And Black folks have been doing this since we were brought to this continent. And so we said, well, we want to create a space that we know will be free from that particular type of racialized harm. And that for us means it has to be for and by Black folks. And it has to be a protected space where we intentionally welcome each other in. That's a space free from the white gaze, and that is just a space for us and by us. And that was really the start of it. I think that there's a vision of Unitarian Universalism, which I would say that we hold too, of a multicultural Unitarian Universalism. The unfortunate, sad part of that is that most of our congregations aren't anywhere near that. And, I would say when we get to a place where we know that Black and Brown Indigenous folks can walk in the door and come into our communities without experiencing so much racialized harm, then BLUU spaces won't be needed. We won't need them, and we won't need them in the same way. In that protected healing space. But I think we're a very long ways away from that. And so BLUU is needed, and it's here. And I want to add that one of our foundational sort of text sources, if you will, was in Beloved by Toni Morrison. When Baby Suggs is they're in a clearing, and she's, sermonizing, and there's a whole beautiful passage about how out yonder for Black folks, they're not gonna love you. They're not gonna love your skin. They're not gonna love anything about you, and so you have to love you. And that text and that idea is really at the center of love, is that, look, this outside world is not going to love us. They don't love us. They hate us in a lot of ways. And so we need to have places where people can come and get filled up and know that they're not going to experience that very particular type of racialized harm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's I've had the fortune to travel quite a bit, and one of the things that I notice that's most consistent about whenever I'm in a country that is not my own is the fatigue of that comes with just the little bits of work that go into your body and your mind, having to translate everything into something you can understand, right? And that tourism is the spiritual work of Black folk in America constantly, right? And so even the best intentioned spaces come with that fatigue, that necessary work, even to gain the benefits that are well meant and trying to come about in the world. I appreciate your naming that. I think in these spaces especially, these things don't get named enough. They don't get named strongly enough, and it helps just personally to have someone else say something that helps me feel seen in that experience.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, go.
Made me think too, the other really beautiful thing that I love about BLUU is that thing about being seen, is there are so many different kinds of Blackness. And when you are just like one of very few, there's a way in which people try to pigeonhole you or stereotype you, if you will, which may or may not speak to any parts of your Blackness.
That's right, yeah.
And I think the really one of the beautiful pieces of BLUU that I really love is that we intentionally try to create space for all different kinds of Blackness. You grew up in an adopted family in the suburbs with a white family, and you're claiming your Black identity, you're welcome here. You grew up in Detroit, you're welcome here. You grew up with a lot of money, not a lot of money, however you're coming. You're a theist, you're an atheist, you come from a Muslim tradition, you Jewish tradition, no tradition, you're a godless heathen like me, you're welcome here. And that beautifulness and expansiveness of Blackness is not something that is even recognized in so many places.
Yes.
And so I just see that as another really reason why we need BLUU.
Yeah. Like in the music world, we get so stuck on the conversations like whether or not white choirs should be singing spirituals, that we delay the hundreds and hundreds of foundational layers of Black music that are actually out there. Like once we get past the spirituals, we can get into the fact that Blackness is in all of music, but we are held up by that homogenization so often. Can we talk about what Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism is doing, like what the work looks like? Yeah, and like where are you now? I know that we talked a lot about initial dreams and how they have grown. So I think people would be really excited to know like what's going on.
Yeah.
Like how does it manifest?
Yeah, so our work, we continue to offer worship online. We used to do 2 worship services a month, now we're down to 1, and I'll explain why in just a few moments. And then we still offer all of our other spiritual care offerings. So there's a daily affirmations that anyone can sign up for and get daily affirmations. There's a pastoral care line for Black folks, which gets a lot of calls. We also created, and this is actually the brainchild and work of our beloved minister, Reverend Michael Slack. We created the Black Lives of, sorry, there's like an echo somewhere I'm hearing. Anyways, okay, it's gone now. We created the Black Ministerial Alliance is the wrong word, but it's a network, that's it, Black Ministerial Network. And that's a way to support Black ministers who are serving predominantly white congregations, and also just a networking connection place. So that's a little bit about our spiritual care offerings. We used to do youth programming online called Blueberries programming. And then the universe kind of laughed at our plans, because in March of 2020, we had plans to launch our in-person communities. And if you remember, something else happened in March of 2020, just a little worldwide pandemic. So that was delayed. We still launched our communities in online form. I think we're up to 9 across the country now. And we have big plans in 2023 and 24 to really build those out and support them. And in order to do that, the other thing we just have done in the last year, we hired a consulting group, an organizational development consulting group named the Anti-Oppressive Resource Training Alliance, AORTA, and they are a fantastic group of folks, and we hired them to help us with a restructure. Because when you start out as 5 folks who are friends, doing mobilization work, sort of more informally meeting your own spiritual needs, and then you fast forward 7 years later, it's and you're trying to build into an organization. It's very different work. And we want to make sure that our in-person communities and the rest of our work has a really solid foundation. So we did a whole process of restructuring, and we have a board chair who's amazing, and we are going to be really fleshing that out in the next year, all that work we did with AORTA and with our board chair. And so that's been a big piece of our work, but it's also very inward-facing work, which is why we did some stuff we pulled back from our programming. And we also thought the timing was appropriate, because in this world of the pandemic, there's a lot pulling on us in different ways. So then the third really big piece is that we're working on an $8.3 million 8-site housing cooperative. And we initially entered into this. Yeah, let's clap for that. We can clap for that. We initially entered into that in 2019 because part of, one of the central pillars of BLUU is justice making and liberation through our faith. We really see our activism, organizing as a part of that pillar of our work. And the Housing Initiative started as a partnership with another Black-led org, which since was not able to fulfill the partnership. But when we got our funding, we were like, we don't want this to just serve Black Unitarian Universalists. We want to share with the communities we came from. So we, reached out to a lot of different folks, and we heard back that there's this housing cooperative for Black and Indigenous single moms, and do we want to support that? And we were like, yes, absolutely, we want to support this. So originally we were just supposed to buy the land and hold the land, and this other org was going to do everything else. So we bought the land, and then the other org just kind of fell defunct. And so suddenly we had a choice to make. Were we going to sell the land, or were we going to continue with the project, or were we going to do something else? And I'm saying at this point, this project is like a nugget of an idea, right? And we just decided, we made this commitment. We want to continue with it. So let's try to figure out another way. And building a new way, has also been a mantra of ours. And so we said, let's figure it out. So that's what a lot of my work has been actually in the past since I came back from maternity leave, which has been building new partnerships, new connections to help lift that housing initiative off the ground. And that is exactly what's happened. We are, yes, we're set to break ground. Thank you. As soon as the ground unfreezes, actually, from this winter, we are set to break ground, pending the closing of the loan with the, with the bank. But the beautiful thing about this project is a few things. One is that the city of Minneapolis really deeply believes in it. They've awarded us $1 million in financing in the form of a forgivable loan. And without that, the project wouldn't be off the ground. We formed a housing council to be able to figure out how to finance and do the rest of the sites. And then we're partnering with Urban Homeworks, which is an amazing organization, to invite families into the initiative. And so, so that's what we're doing. We still do our spiritual programming, we're doing the restructure, and then the housing initiative. We think that's enough for right now.
Yeah.
Because we are a 4-person team.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that's our conversations have, especially as we have taken a look at the 4-person team dreaming this big.
Yeah.
We inevitably get into the conversation of, okay, well, if you're building a new way, and your part of that is one of the bricks. How do you keep the faith? How do you maintain? How do you strengthen hope? How do you find resilience, or even a connection between the one thing you are doing and the larger dream? I wonder if you could speak to how it is that BLUU thinks of that.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the key things that we come back to time and time again is what can we do with what we have right now? That's been a question for us since the beginning, since we sat around at that table, right? We were like, we don't have money, we don't have, lots of other things lots of orgs have when they get started, but we were like, what do we have right now, and what can we do right now? And I think that's been a thorough line since our inception. And I think when we first started, for instance, the housing initiative, we didn't know how big it was going to be. And yet still our answer, our grounding question was, well, we can do something with what we have right now, so let's start there. And let's continue to ask that question along the way. The thing about the housing disparities in Minnesota is that they're so stark that getting 24 Black and Indigenous families into home ownership through the housing cooperative will have a statistically significant impact on home ownership rates in the state. And so that's pretty sad in one component, in one way you look at it. The other way you can look at it is that is 24 families. And I think one of the things that surprised me when I started BLUU, I don't know why, but is that when you start something, you sort of get crushed with requests, and you see how big the needs are.
Right.
And you can't meet them all. You can't even come anywhere close. But being clear about what you can do allows you space a little bit to say, these families that are coming to us, if they don't have money for childcare, or they don't have health care, or they don't have money to go to college, I can't solve any of those big things for them. Can't do it. But hopefully what this project can do is solve the housing piece for them, right? Because there is nowhere else in the country right now where you would get a 1,600 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, new construction for $189,000. That just is not gonna happen. But that's what we're doing with this project. And so the power of that for those families is huge, right? This isn't rundown, shoddy, in disrepair, affordable housing, right? This isn't the state or the city, rundown, needing lots of repair public housing. This is beautiful, brand new homes, because we all deserve that, right?
Right.
And it really hopefully can offer some stabilizing for those families. And I will say the families it's not like, it's work. It is work to live in a cooperative. And it's gonna take a lot from them, just not in the form of money. And so I think that's the other piece that's really important to know. In an ideal world, like, I would just love to be able to gift them, to whoever needs it, right? But the world we live in is different. And so, part of that grounding is just like, what can I do with what I have now? And then just keep building and keep making it stronger, We've raised, I think, around $94,000 from individual UUs and UU congregations. And that's really helped us get off the ground. But we still could use a lot more, One of the things we're looking at right now is that the payments for the families are at, I think it's like $2,300, which the city says is affordable. But if you have bought groceries recently, that's not really affordable.
$2,300.
Right. And so we're trying to get those monthly payments down to like $1,300, which we feel like is more affordable. So even if we raised an additional $50,000 to $75,000, that would bring down the debt service on the mortgage, and that would bring that down into that range. So that's our sort of new goal right now for this first project, is to bring that monthly payment down to what is actually affordable for people making around 60% of the average median income. But that's just going to take capital from other resources, so.
What I love, what I'm hearing more deeply than I had in the past is like our work. What you can do now is creating space for the next folks who can solve another bit of the dream, who can create a little bit more of the dream, and we create space with what we can do for each other to cooperate and work the dream into reality. It's a less self-motivated way of thinking about it. It reminds me that, like, even the things that I can do right now, I'm not alone. Like, we are all able to do something. We're all able, and we are creating the space for each other to be able to work on the things that make love and justice come to life. Yeah. Anything else you want to say? All right.
Oh no.
Okay.
Are we done, or do you have?
Oh, we can be.
No. I was waiting for your next question.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I really am interested in this spiritual, in this idea because we often talk about our aspirations with these very large words of freedom and liberation and justice and whatnot, and just like coming to church every week, sometimes I just want to know, like, where my work today, like, how do I ground myself today in the larger dream so that I don't lose hope and I don't lose sight of what that is. And I especially appreciate how BLUU has done that step by step, and has taught us how beautifully that works.
I have a question.
Yeah, Rick.
In the spirit of what this congregation can do to better support Black lives, with the realization that Black lives, Indigenous people around the world, are the ones that are most harmfully and immediately and already affected by climate change. If this congregation could do more to support not just racial justice, but also environmental justice, would that be supportive, in your opinion, of what this congregation
Yeah, I appreciate that you're bringing a deeper and wider question, and I encourage you to take that question into a forum that is not worship. Although this does look an awful lot like something where we would toss some questions back and forth. We don't have the space and time for it now. Here's what I would do. I think the thing you do with that, I have 40 plus plants at home, and I know that the seed that you plant and the seed that you nurture is the plant that tends to grow, and so each one of us here is also waking up with particular spaces of care and concern that we're bringing into the world. Climate justice and reproductive rights justice and black justice and brown justice and poverty justice and economic all of these places where your heart resonates are the places that you start your conversations in the social hall, in the hallway. Start your conversations on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Start those conversations from that place where the needs of the world intersect with the place where your heart resonates. This is what you can do with what you've got. And speaking of what you can do with what you've got, it's time to take the offering.
Yeah.
Friends, now is a time where we have the opportunity to practice the generous art of giving and receiving as love shows us how. In partnership with Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, I welcome your showing of generosity. Together, what we can do is greater than what any one of us could do alone, so we have no choice but to do the thing, okay? The ushers will come and receive the morning's offering for Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. I thank you in advance for your generosity.
Thank you. Thank you.
I realize that some folks in our congregation are joining us not in this room, and I forgot to restate the question so that folks could know what we were talking about. Sorry, folks who are joining us at home. I don't mean to make you kind of out in the darkness. That's the theme for the month, y'all. Come on. Oh, I mean, yes, no, but I do hope that the response gave you an idea of where we were going, and I encourage you as this showing of generous giving that we have had together continues to remind us of what we're capable of, that you take this lesson with you into your heart. And that we also know that giving alone is not the only part of that art, that receiving well is also part of the art of giving and receiving, as love shows us how. And if you're in a place in your life where the church's generosity can be beneficial to your life, if you're in a hard place right now, we've got resources to be of assistance. See me, see one of the staff members. Let's have a conversation. Send an email if talking about that is not your thing. Let's start the conversation. We have the resources to be generous with you so that we all can live better together and benefit from the beauty of our own generous giving and receiving. Amen? Yes, indeed. Friends, the opportunity to sing has come. The hymn is the Fire of Commitment, and I welcome you to sing it along with me. Would you rise? Let's sing.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to a life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our home finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice that demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with a deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Amen. Friends, the moment of our common worship is coming to a close, which presents another opportunity. What happens now until we see each other again is largely up to us. We could pack away our songs and our lessons into our back pockets, into our trunks, and live the next days as if these moments of togetherness and love never took place. Or we could take what we have and offer it to each other. Live lives that say a difference has been made today live lives that are the evidence of this community in the world, now and in all the days to come, especially until we meet again. So go now with love on your mind. Go with liberation in your heart. And go with justice in the very soles of your feet, my friends. Amen. Let's sing. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, and your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are mine. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Go in peace, my friends. Amen.